Right, so welcome everyone to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. Today it is the last session of the Fall 2025 series. Our topic for the day is Crossing Borders, the Copperbridge Connection. My name is Janeri Mendoza Farjan, and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator here at the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. And for those of you that are not familiar with our office, this is our flagship discussion series that brings together multiple perspectives on current global issues and trends. All Tuesday Times roundtables, they're always connected to a New York Times article and also to topics that align to the United Nations development goals. We're going to ask you to take a moment to sign in. You can do it by scanning the QR code that you see in the screen. And also our team is going to be sharing the link in the chat as well. This is what we use to record your attendance for today's session. So whether you're here for Global Learning Medallion points, honors college engagement points, or extra credit from your professor, whatever brought you to us, we're just happy that you're here. A big shout out to also our team. We have Michelle Saldivar with us today, our Assistant Director for the Office of Global Learning Initiatives, and Roji, our Graduate Assistant as well. Our team is going to be monitoring the chat, so we encourage you to submit your questions for the presenter, so that way we can keep an eye on them and then bring them to the presentation. Okay. If you would like to learn more about the global learning programs, including the Peace Corps Prep Program, Global Learning Medallion, Millennium Fellowship, and other scholarships and fellowships that we have available for all undergraduate students, feel free to visit goglobal.fiu.edu/students. And you may also scan the QR code to access our social media account. Also, as a reminder, this week we are celebrating International Education Week here at FIU. So there is a long list of activities that are going to be happening every day. This is a historic joint initiative that was initiated by the U.S. Department of State of Education to aim and promote programs that prepare Americans for global interactions and global environment. This year alone, this initiative continues with the support of the NASA organization, AACNU, and the Forum of Education Abroad. They had joined forces to continue advocating for this important work on international education. Feel free to scan the QR code as well to access all those activities, and you may also visit www.isss.fiu.edu. Within our office, we're going to have two upcoming events that are part of International Education Week besides this Tuesday Times Roundtable. So join us this afternoon as well for the Chew Box of Joy at 2 p.m., where we're going to be packing chew boxes for children in need around the world. So feel free to come to PC 249. And also this Thursday, we have the big event of the year, FIU Language Day. Is going to be at the Green Library, so feel free to join us from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So as I mentioned, the session is always connected to a news article. If you would like to access the article for this week, feel free to visit go.fiu.edu/TTR1118. And this is because of our partnership with the New York Times, that everyone with an FIU email gets free digital access to the New York Times. If you would like to access that account, go to accessnyt.com. The SDG that it connects with today's topic is SDG number 17, the partnerships for the goals. And this is because it has strengthened the means of implementation and revitalizing the global partnerships for sustainable development. All right, and now it is my great pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Geo Darder. Geo is the founder and the president of the Copperbridge Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to fostering cultural and educational exchange through the arts. Since its inception, Copperbridge Foundation has created meaningful platforms for dialogue across borders, producing international cultural events, lectures, workshops, and study abroad programs that highlight the transformative power of artistic expression. In North Miami, Geo is leading the development of the new community art hub, an outdoor cultural center, art incubator, and an artist residence program designed to serve as a gathering place for creative exchange. The Art Hub would expand upon Copperbridge mission by hosting exhibitions, performances, and lectures, while also offering a dynamic space for local and international artists to collaborate. And through his leadership, Geo has continued to champion the belief that the arts can unite diverse communities, inspire meaningful dialogue, and spark new opportunities for cultural connection. Let's welcome Geo to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, and so proud to be here with all of you. It's nice to hear your bio. I forgot I was doing all this stuff, but yes, it's a blessed day, and so happy I could share a little bit of our story and what we've done to get to where we're at today, and hopefully where we want to go. My name is Geo Darder. I am the founder of Copperbridge Foundation. We are a nonprofit organization, as was just mentioned. Our simple mission is to promote cultural exchange through the medium of artistic expression. Very simple, but very powerful. I want to tell you a little bit about who I am, so you know how I got to where I am. I'd like to relate that, in this case, how the arts worked for me and changed my life, and actually the fact of traveling and knowing of other cultures ignited something within me. So I was born in Cuba. I'm a Cuban. I was born in 1963, and my family left Cuba through Mexico in 1965. We crossed the border through the Rio Grande into Texas. I believe we have a picture to show you here of just how my family, when we came here, what we look like, what I look like. So you get an understanding that how important certain issues, topics are, and migration is a big deal for me. Did you share? Yeah. Is it there? All right. So here's me in the middle. That's a little Geo Darder. My mom to my right and my dad to the left, and we have another person there in the back that's my brother. So we came in 1965. We ended up here in Miami, and so I grew up here. Went to elementary, junior, and then was part of the high school busing into a high school called Central, and then went to Miami-Dade College. So I kind of know what it's like here in the 80s. And then so I, at 16, 17, I started, I was, believe it, well, as a immigrant and having Cuban parents, coming into the 60s and 70s was a different time in Miami in the US, and segregation was still a deal. And being Latino, coming here, being different, you had to prove yourself. And so at home, I spoke Spanish, and in school, it was all English. And my name, when I came, was Jorge, and they used to call me Jorge. You know, kids could sometimes be a little difficult. And so that was a big, just believe it or not, something as simple as your name became an issue. And so I had to learn how to be an American, gringo, or to fit in. So there was that divide between family life, and then as you left out or went out, a different world. So later on, at 16, I I was issued to be a model. Back then in the 80s, a male model was not something common, but I became a model in the 80s. Look at the hair. This is Miami Vice time. This is what was going on in Miami. South Beach was just about happening, and the focus of Miami was now fashion, you know, a big trend, and the big pastel colors of Miami Beach, and clothing and hair, obviously. I, at that time, from a model, became an owner of a modeling agency here in Miami. So I was able to be part of that fashion trend here, where we found a niche in the U.S. global interest, and that was literally the top agents and models came to South Florida, and that was the revival of this city. South Beach became the Mecca of the world. And so, that was very, very cool. But from there, I got into nightclubs. So I started opening nightclubs and PRing nightclubs on South Beach. And then some like the Spot, Velvet, dealt with all the Madonna and Mickey Rourke's, and Mickey Hucknalls of the world. And that was an incredible time to be part of that life. But that life comes with some craziness attached to it. I think you've heard that fashion, film, and fun comes at a price. So luckily, I was able to survive that. Moved to New York, and at the age of 35, decided to change my life around, and I became, and I'll be very honest with you, because I like this, a sober human being, and I changed my life around. At that point, I had been lucky enough at the age of 30 to go to Cuba with some friends, because I had met some people like me, and they told me about Cuba, and I went to Cuba through Mexico. And my parents never found out I went the first time, because imagine, they did everything to leave, but I went back. And when I did, I reconnected with family and with culture. And there was like this sense of fulfillment of who I am. So the identity of being Cuban was very important to me, because I connected to something that had been missing for so long, because I tried to avoid, being Latino in the 60s and 70s here. And all of a sudden in the 80s, I was able to reconnect with this identity that made me who I was. And I found out that through culture, there was education, there was arts, there was architecture, there was history that placed me in the perfect spot, that we were back in the 20s to the 60s, a Mecca in the world, so I really belonged to a civilization or a society that really was culture. So I was crazy to bring that back and share it with the world. So I came back at that time. I was living in New York, and I spoke to my partner at the time about what I had seen, and she loved architecture. She was a president of the Art Technical Society of New York, and I showed her the pictures, and she said, "I would love to show this to our members here in New York. This architecture is amazing." And so that was my first introduction to creating a program where I could share something that I had seen with people that wanted and are eager to learn about different cultures. So I set forth, and we created a conference on Art Deco in Cuba. And we had 30 to 40 members from New York travel to Cuba. It wasn't the easiest thing to do back then, I must say. But we were able, through the State Department, create this program and go. And they loved it. They came back. And as soon as they came back, somebody else asked us if we could do something similar. And all of a sudden, I was doing 2 or 3 trips to Cuba to show them our culture, my culture, what belonged to me at one point that I had left behind. So I became a cultural ambassador of sorts all of a sudden. And from there, I had museums ask me to do the same for arts, because of course, when I went down to Cuba, I started meeting artists, and then I started meeting architects and historians. And then I just said, well, I need to share you now to my public. And before you knew it, I was creating programs for every institution in the US, every museum, literally, it was 15 to 20. And we kept going down, and all these people would go down and meet these artists. And all of a sudden, they would meet the artist, have great conversation, and say, you know what, I love you, I want to help you. They'd come back to the US, life would take over, and they would kind of forget of that dialogue that they had of, that those promises or possibilities that were made. We, of course, living here, we live in the abundance of possibility. And some places and other places in the world don't have that. So they rely on people like us to come and share our story, and hopefully our help in one way or another. So I, I had a dilemma there because all of a sudden I was all these people coming, they were meeting these fantastic artists, and then they'd come back and go, so what happened to Miss Smith? She told us about this, and I said, oh my gosh, you know what? Let me follow up, and that became very tedious, I must say. And so I had to come up with a concept that worked for everyone. So I realized that I had all these people traveling. I had good fortune, and I set out to create a nonprofit that could benefit everyone. And in this case, what we did was, well, since I'm creating travel programs now to South America or to the Caribbean, you know what? Let me make every person that comes in be part of the funding for these wonderful artists. And so what we did was, that's exactly what we did. So all of a sudden, every museum, every institution that went down to Cuba at this point to meet artists and learn about the country put in a fund, and that fund was created to then do an exchange to bring those artists to the US. So give them possibilities of seeing our fantastic country, the possibilities that they had here, and creating that bridge. So I created a nonprofit that took some time because it dealt with Cuba, and it was the Copperbridge Foundation. And what we did was the bridge of understanding, the bridge of cultures. And that became a huge hit because we brought dance companies and theater companies showcasing their works here, architects here to New York, to Los Angeles, to Miami, to Chicago. And it was a fantastic opportunity to exchange cultures and ideas. And that began a whole new possibility to expand from Cuba to Latin America. So we started working with Brazil, and we worked with Chile and Colombia, and we started doing similar programs with them too. Always by doing this, I must say that I think the recipient of the most knowledge and blessings was me, because I had to travel to these places, meet these wonderful people, spend time there, and understand that we had so many similarities, that their cultures was just as wonderful as ours, and that we could create some wonderful programming with each and every country. And I was given the opportunity to do that through architecture, which I love. So we started working with different organizations in the US that asked Copperbridge to create their program and the conferences for them in Latin America. So, we worked with AIA, the Committee on Design, to do the programming in Cuba, in Chile, and in Brazil. And we also worked with creating Art Deco, which is what took me to Cuba in the first place, Art Deco World Congresses, and introducing Latin America as a Art Deco movement. People had no clue that Art Deco, so rich in the 20s and 30s, actually is abundant in Latin America. We have cities like Buenos Aires and Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, that have the most incredible Art Deco, and even in the outskirts of town, like La Pampa in Argentina, which Francisco Salamone created the slaughterhouses of the 1920s. So you can imagine that all that was accessible only because we ventured out to learn about different cultures. And because of that, I must say that we've now worked with UNESCO to help bring attention to the Pampa, the Salamone tour. Buenos Aires as well is now part of the International Coalition of Art Deco Societies. Cuba as well. We were able to create a book on all the Art Deco buildings in Havana, which are now seen by many young architects in the US. And this all just came by really taking the next step, meeting the next person, getting and experience a new city in a new country, and just having a hello, beginning with, hi, how are you? I'd love to know more about you and where you live. And so because of that, as I said, we did the Francisco Salamone documentary. We did the Havana Art Deco Guide. Detrás del Muro was a big experience in Havana where they did the Biennale. The Biennale is when every 2 years, like they're doing right now for Art Basel here, people come from all over the world to show their art. And in Cuba, believe it or not, there is a high standard of art. Now it's a little bit different because things have changed in Cuba. Unfortunately, they're going through some tough times, real tough times. And so, but in that point, there was a gentleman by the name of Juan Delgado that had a vision. He wanted to do a collateral biennale on the Malecon. And he brought together the most incredible artists. And at that point, he was not necessarily with the government. So I love the fact that he was independent. So we helped him and promoted him. And we helped him with a book and a documentary based on his work. It became, you just mentioned the New York Times. It became the front cover of the New York Times because of the work that he did and the artists that came. And it brought the public out to the Malecon, to the seawall, the promenade, and it kind of did almost as good, or if not better, than the government-run Biennale. So we were very proud of that because it was an independent project, and so we helped him for 2 years in a row. And quite honestly, what happened, we lost Juan to COVID, unfortunately, during this the pandemic. But we carry him on, so we want to continue promoting his work, if not through film, but through lectures and things like that, which is now brings us, I'm being pushed here.
I'm sorry.
It brings us to what we're doing today. We were able 2 years ago to open, and if I'm talking too much and saying too much, please let me know. 2 years ago, because of my experience with architecture and design, creating these programs, I learned a lot about preservation. I learned a lot about design. I'm not an architect, and I didn't study design, but the passion of everything that I saw in all these countries realized that I have a spirit in me that loves preservation and loves history. So I fell in love with the building in North Miami. There was a Spanish Mediterranean building that was in ruins. And I said, 10 years ago, when I saw this building, I said, this would be a great arts center, community center. And I did, well, people considered me crazy, so it didn't bother that I purchased the property in cash because they were practically giving away. They wanted to demolish it. And I, on the other hand, wanted to restore it and bring it back to life. And literally, I bought the building and also acquired derelicts that were living in the building. They became friends because actually they were immigrants that were looking for a better life here. And I befriended them. I said, you know what? I kind of said, you're living here already. You're protecting this building because no one's going to mess with this building. What if I leave the lights on? You watch over this building, but we'll do an exchange. You need to go back to school. They were young. You need to go back to school, and as long as you go back to school or work, you can live here. And I helped them with their area, with the interior. And can I tell you, 2 of the 3 went back to school. 1 graduated, believe it, night school here in North Miami. And then he's now part of my life. He is, he actually is a rapper, and he did a song about our relationship. He's from Dominican Republic. And so, 1 out of 3 is not bad. Not bad at all. So it just showed me that, you could transform not only a building, but a life. And it wasn't their life that we transformed, it was mine. That I trusted someone enough that, yes, one of them did wrong, but one of them did right. I'm going to embrace the right, So not only did we restore this friendship, but I restored this building that took 10 years to do. And 2 years ago, we finally, actually a month, December will make 2 years. Yeah. We were able to open this building, which since then has won awards for restoration and preservation. We hosted an AIA meeting here. Open House Miami, which just opened last year, chose this building as a destination in North Miami. So, we're, through dreams and desire, we manifest, these incredible opportunities that live on way after you and I are not here. And so the fact is now that we've created this space, we have worked with NOMA. We brought young students from
organization of
National Organization Minority Architects to here. We were able to showcase their projects here, just like my dream, but they got the degree. I didn't. I just built the temple that they were able to show their dream. And so we worked with different artists and architects with them. So that's the kind of stuff that I love to see here, that this building is a home to all these projects that are happening only based on whatever we did in the last 20 years. So we're recycling all this content that we experienced just by travel, these exchange programs with Latin America and the Caribbean. So fast forward, here we are now, and what am I doing with this building this year? And by the way, everyone that's listening is invited. We will share all our calendar of events for November and December. It's all free. We brought to Miami 3 or 4 incredible exhibits. You see here on your screen, I don't know if it's to the right, the brooms, something as simple as brooms. Well, it's more than that. It's a 20-year relationship with someone I met when I went to Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, that I jumped in and walked into her workshop in Copacabana, Barrio Peixoto, and she was working with organic materials. Now, if I just would walk in and walk out, I would go, okay, she's an artisan. But having an exchange and conversation, I found out that it was way more. This was a woman that was dedicated her life to going into the Amazon indigenous tribes and learning about the tribes, learning about their materials, their traditions, their culture, bringing it back to Rio, creating a workshop with women, and then creating one-of-a-kind pieces that all are organically, beautifully designed. And then by just talking to her, I realized that her exhibits were so well received. Very large hotels like the Fasano were doing installations with her work. So she wasn't just an artisan, she was an artist. And you go, well, wait a second. And then you learn a little bit more about her. So one day I'd love to share this with my people. Well, that one day came 2 weeks ago when, after 20 years passed, I was able to, because I have a building, because the foundation has a headquarters, invite her to come the way that we know and present her work, her country, her tradition, her mission, through the arts. So now we have 300, right this moment, by the way, you come, we have 300 pieces that are being shown, all individual, with, if you notice on this one here, you have the mandala, which is also a presentation for Art Basel to show that organic materials are extremely contemporary if how you show it and how you present it. And so we're showing this with the connection of photography, because through this exhibit, we show that art transcends with photography and also in the fashion world. So we show how she created accessories for there's a clothing line called Oshklin. In Oshklin in the 80s, it's a big line. In the 80s, it's all sportswear. Was commissioned to do a book because they were opening their store in Manhattan, New York. And so the artist, Murillo, called on this woman to do her accessories. So the clothing wasn't the forefront of the campaign. It was nature. It was Brazil. It was tradition. And that book became the most popular campaign to date. And so it shows how nature really touches us one way or another, but also is a way to connect us to way beyond just to fashion, tradition, cultural, the Amazon, the people. So we are actually here showing this now. And then we move over to the next exhibit that we're doing by Federico Uribe. He's a Colombian artist. And this too is like, what can we do? Well, the good thing is we don't have guidelines. We just show our mission through art and dialogue. And this particular artist works with recycled materials. So right now there's an issue with migration. As I mentioned earlier, I'm an immigrant. And so we're having issues, it's very delicate right now what's happening in this country. And through art, you could present an issue and let the viewer, the participant decide how it moves them. And in this case, it's about recycled material, clothes, luggage, and it's called On the Move. And so when you walk in, it's life-size pieces that shows you how, sometimes we carry it. And let's say there's a 5-alarm fire and you have to leave your house. What do you take with you? When we migrate, what do we take? Do we take the picture of our mother, of that little trinket that we had? Or do we try to take as much as possible? Or do we just take our memories? So when I saw this piece, and again, it touched me, I wanted to show it during Basel. I want to show that, that we're living some very interesting times, and this is important through the arts that you can convey a message. And we go with the same artist to the very left that deals with plastic reefs. This is all found plastic off the shores of Florida. It could be beautiful, but it also shows us, how we discard so many things, and everything's once used, and we take for granted of what we're doing to our environment. It can look beautiful there, but it's like, look what was collected in 6 months just off our shore. So imagine if that's what we get. Imagine what's happening globally. With pollution. So these are the things that we're presenting, and then of course we have calendar events that proves that you can meet the artist, you can have conversation, you can come, feel, touch, and see. But what we're doing with this, we're also creating programs where you could travel to Brazil. You can meet the artist. You can go to the Amazon. You can have that experience that ignited that interest you here at the Copperbridge Foundation building. So we move forward to other projects. Now I just mentioned what we've created here. Well, my vision, because I have enough life to live, I have enough to create this sensation that we've created here, this community in North Miami with our Copper Hut, that we created a place where people can come. We have artist residencies. We have event spaces, all within 2-block radius. Now we try to do that same feeling in other places around the world. I love film. As I told you, film brought me to Cuba. So there's a film festival in Ibarra, Cuba, that's very far off. And what I did is I went there to work with the locals and create a project where people that I meet throughout the world come and they share their experience or their wellness with communities. So these are places that are so remote that people don't know what yoga is, or don't experience, or don't know what healing is, or don't know what dialogue is, or because they're trying just to survive. This is where we bring people together from around the world that come in, and we have this exchange. By the way, that couple we just showed, they're the people that I've been showing how to take a home, how to make it into a Airbnb, a project, where you could receive people from around the world, where you could help a community grow. Again, it's just you give them a recipe for community building, and it's become now a huge success. It's now 3 years in the works, and these are people just coming together, and the simple fact of just sharing is so healing. So we do food to table meals. We do temazcals. We talk about what is a temazcal? What is a yoga? So these are things that we're doing. And from here, we're doing this now in Brazil as well. We're creating a little space in Brazil that is going to be a artist residency. So you could do this here, there as well, where now people from Miami could travel to Brazil, the Brazilians could travel to Cuba, sharing their experiences. And it's all about creating exchange programs that heal the soul, pretty much. So, and all this has happened because the first trip that I took at the age of 18, I went to Guatemala on invitation, and I realized that the language spoken was Spanish, that everyone there spoke Spanish. And then they went on to show me these incredible places like Atitlan, Antigua, Guatemala City, with their culture and their traditions. And I just, again, said, you know what? I like this. Was the first identity of Geo, first with my language. Because remember, my name was Jorge Felix. I changed it to George when I became a US citizen. And then because I didn't want people to call me Jorge, then all of a sudden, I started, when I traveled, people would say, well, why'd you change your name to George? Jorge is so, present. And I was able to realize that my original Geo was just as wonderful as the one that I've created today. And that's been through travel and exchange programs. So if I could help in any way through my programming to create dialogue through the arts and heal a soul or ignite interest, then we have how do you say, succeeded in our mission. And I think that's it for now. Is that enough, guys?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gio. What an honor to get to know you and to walk through this journey. And then see the fantastic work that now you and your organization is doing, creating this collaborative work in the arts. I think that we all go through an art museum and we get to like connect with the art pieces little by little, but then just hearing it from someone that does that is just amazing to kind of see the work that gets done behind. Thank you so much for really walking us through your journey and also allowing us to learn more about Copperbridge and the amazing work that you and the organization is doing as well. I think we can open it now for questions. Are there any questions from the audience?
Don't be shy, guys. I was petrified to do this earlier, so come on, share with me.
Yes. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. It was lovely to hear about your work, how it all began, and really what has driven a successful career for yourself, and the vision behind your why. And so I was wondering if you could share maybe in the beginning of trying to deploy this grand idea that you had, what were some things that allowed you to move forward as you were trying to endeavor a big dream, right? Sometimes we dream big, but we don't really know what's going to propel us forward. And so if you could share with us what allowed you to go on as you started, and even though you may have had some things, along the way, some challenges, what allowed you to keep going and to fuel this passion that's brought you this far?
Thank you. Well, I think that everything that we've done, I'll start with every project that I started, people would say, that's ambitious. That can't be done. Are you kidding me? What? Cuba? Those people? And I had to realize that if I were to listen to each and every person that told me that it could not be done, I wouldn't even gotten through my teens, to be honest with you. I think that faith is a big deal. It's a big deal in my life. Faith in self and passion. And I think that this is why I kind of talked about my earlier childhood. I had issues in my life. There's a film about my life. Literally, I come from a difficult childhood. And what I told you about school was just the beginning. But talk about the can'ts and impossibles. Well, I'm a dreamer in many senses of the word. And I believe that by research and understanding, I created a proposal, a mission of sort, and through contacts. I think that the more people you speak, you're always going to find someone that believes in you or believes in your dream and gives you that hand. And I'm very grateful to all those people that did that. starting with the first trip to Cuba. I'll be very honest, the first trip to Cuba, my film took me to Cuba. The film about my life, which was I did a film when I changed my life, became sober, and I talked about my downfalls. But that film took me to meet family and gave me a purpose. Believe it or not, it didn't. It cleared me all of the skeletons in the closet, and then it opened the doors for an incredible future. So I walked right through, and I think I've been walking through every single day. Trust me, I have issues even today with people see this incredible organization and see there's always an issue. There's always an obstacle that has to be met. And I apply the same deal that before. I wake up and I believe in faith. And you don't know if you could succeed if you don't try. You've heard that a billion times, and there's never failure. I mean, I know friends that are multi-billionaires that have lost it all and then come back again. It's because they don't give up. You just don't give up. So I received support of, as I mentioned before, it was at one point my partner, she introduced me to her crew, and we went to Cuba, and just again, be the very best person you could be each and every day, and success follows. So integrity is a big deal too. That's what I did. So I worked that way. What happened was that when we reached from just doing travel programs to the nonprofit, I had a lawyer come in and said, let me help you, pro bono, because they saw what I was doing and said, I want to help you. I didn't think it was possible. And at that point, dealing with Cuba was very difficult to get a nonprofit. And so she was very patient, and we did everything by the book. We went clear. It's so clear that always, I've been told, always be very transparent in your dealings, and then you have nothing to worry about. And that's what we did. And she created this nonprofit that took, usually I think it takes about 6 months. It took us, I think, 1.5 to 2 years to get our status. So, but that led then to, we felt successful in the sense that we are now official, that we could do these programs. We set out and asked for a travel license from the State Department. So, we did everything the way we were supposed to. And that has just kept, like I said earlier, I found this building that people thought I was insane. It takes time, patience. And literally, I got support from the city. The city came and said this. I went to them. I showed them my project, and they said, we'd like to help you. Did I learn? I learned a lot, because anyway. But from that, now I'm at the stage now where we're creating community, and we have the city supporting us now. We've gone to that level, governmental, where they're going, only because time has proven that what we're doing is good and right. And we're here about community. We are building community. And if we build a better community, they have a better city, So they're investing in us in that respect. Art promotes art. The art of living is just as important as a contemporary art piece that we showcase at Basel. And that's what we're doing now. So I hope I answered your question. I think, maybe.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have a few more questions for you, Gio. The first question is about the inspiration on Art Deco. Is that still part of the work that Copperbridge does?
Absolutely. I am on the board of the Miami Design Preservation League. So I work with them. Not only did Copperbridge welcome the Art Deco World Congress 2023, we actually hosted their welcome. 240 people came from around the world, and I brought them to North Miami. So Copperbridge is a destination for people. We were able to do an Art Deco inspired exhibit at our community center, not here. And they actually did a hard hat tour. We weren't ready yet to receive them. We thought we did, but we weren't ready. So we just did a hard hat tour. And then we did a welcome event at our outdoor space. So yes, and I just came back from Paris, where we're celebrating our 100-year anniversary of Art Deco. So Copperbridge hosted 3 World Congresses, which is unheard of. And now we have the book that we did for Maria Elena Martin. And now I am on the board of the North Miami Centennial Committee. So all that experience is helping me now with this community doing programming here beginning November for North Miami. So yes, I am still very much part of the Art Deco movement, and we want to continue promoting other Latin American countries to share their patrimony, Art Deco patrimony. So it didn't stop just with those 3 countries and Cuba 4. We want to continue showing that Latin America is definitely a treasure of patrimony. So yes. What is this here? Now I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So here is, like I said earlier, everyone in this call and all your friends are invited to all our exhibits that we're doing through November, December here in North Miami, beginning with the open reception of the Federico show that we told you about. We are working with nonprofits here because we believe art really is a movement. And so we've reached out to Goodwill. They're in collaboration partnership with us. VolunteerCleanup.org, Friends of the Enchanted Forest, and also Mindful Arts Education. So what we do is we bring in these nonprofits and we use our platform as a promotional tool for our community-based programs. So it's no one can do anything alone, guys. Learn that, okay? We need to collaborate more so now, because when you come together, you can bring funding together, you can bring expertise together, and you can bring communities together. So that's what we're doing now with this through our shows. We're also doing, if no one's ever done a Temazcal, like a sweat lodge, we're doing that here for all those first timers. Everything that we do here is about a first timer, because I have learned to say, I don't know. And that I don't know opens the door to let me explain to you or show you how or why. And that's pretty much the whole story of how I've shared the I don't knows to, oh, wait, I know now, and let me share with those that don't, And so it's as simple as that. We complicate life sometimes, guys, and it's not necessary. What's that? And it's not necessary. It's just, again, I was fearful to be part of you guys today. And this morning I was like, oh, dreading, do I really have to? And as a matter of fact, Marisol, when I was ready to go on, it was like, I saw that it was taking a little time. I said, do I have to do this? Or maybe it's not done. But it's just like, jump in and be part of it, guys. Just, let life lead you. Let life lead you. And I know we've got 30 some odd people being part of this. You guys are just as special. That's what I wanted to show you. That doesn't matter where you come from. It's where we're at today. And you are special and you do matter. You really do. What you're learning today is going to be learned by someone else through you. So thank you.
Thank you, Gio. And then you mentioned we do have like 30 plus in the audience, and there are students from different fields and different majors. So for someone that is not artistic themselves, right? How can we all bring it? Like, how can we bring that as a global perspective into our everyday lives? Any advice that you want to give to the students?
Well, remember, as I said, I get chills. That's the whole reason why I did this. I thought that art was for the elite, and it's not. It's for everybody. Art is a movement. It moves you. It could be any type of art. Graffiti is art. It wasn't considered art before, and now it's considered art. And you have people, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to create or take over a wall, which before a wall was tagged and it was like, no. Now it's Christie's is doing auctions on pieces of walls, people. So I think that we all have that artistic flair. Listen, when you go and you pick a dress or a shirt or a color, you are choosing based on the attraction. That's art too. So there is, and that was my first lesson to realize that my opinion matters. It's my opinion to me. So as long as it matters to me, it matters. So art is for everyone. And so everyone that's listening, you can go to museum. As a matter of fact, we have openings here. You're all invited to come to each and every opening that we have, participate, learn, be part of the lectures, ask any question like I do. and just and see that you might through your question ignite a fury of exchange, which is welcoming. Even if you don't, it's like, I don't get it. You're allowed not to get it. So what we're doing here in North Miami, by the way, we're bringing in artists from all over the world, including here, to do installations through the new. Even though I preserved and restored this building, I also am vigilant of the developers that are coming in, changing, gentrifying our community. So even if I can't stop it, because money is money, guys, I can at least be part of it and give them my opinion and bring artists that might just help that project out, or have them come in and help us promote community programming and feel like they're part of the community instead of and what?
And be part of the
And be part of the correct. That's my assistant, by the way, that keeps, we love it. She's part of who I am, and I'm part of who she is. So anyway, the point is that I am nothing by the way, see, it takes a team, guys. It takes a team in every sense of the word, in every office, in every business, in every nonprofit. It takes so many. So yes, we can, and I offer you that. We're doing workshops with children. I love working with kids because it allows me to let the kid in me come out too. So it's a perfect excuse to not be so adult all the time. So, or have such responsibility. So yes.
Thank you, Gio. And then I guess the last question, this is thinking back into those days as an early child growing up here in Miami. What advice would you give to your younger self, especially before that trip to Cuba? Like today, what advice would you give that to that younger self of you?
Love yourself more. Just love yourself. Know that you really are special, that you have a purpose. I would that yes, even though I felt it, that I had a purpose. And don't compare. Don't compare with what someone else has. Just don't compare. You're enough.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm getting teary-eyed. Thank you so much, Gio. uh, Such a beautiful presentation, and it's such an honor to get to know you and also Marisol and the amazing work that you do in Copperbridge. I would like to kind of reiterate, I know Marisol already put it in the chat, but please make sure that you visit their website, www.copperbridge.org, and also their Instagram account as well, and be part of this organization's work and mission.
Yes, please. You're invited to come to all our events. And I just want to say one last thing here. Again, through civic leadership, which is what I told them, I can actually say that my family made proud because I love Maurice Ferre, our mayor here. And I know I mentioned, I saw that you have the Green School. Well, throughout my program, am now one of the founders of the Maurice Ferre Civic Leadership Program at FIU South. And if you would have told me that 20 years ago at who I was, I wouldn't believe it. But again, it shows that just by being who you are today leads you into a leadership role one way or another. So it doesn't matter who you think you are. It's the universe will lead you forward. And so I'm proud to be part of this FIU discussion, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you so much, Gio. It was a pleasure having you, and thank you so much again for inspiring all of us. I know now we're leaving more inspired than about an hour ago, and we truly appreciate your time, your dedication, and all the amazing work that you're doing, not just in here in the local community, but also in the international as well. This definitely highlights the work that we are honoring this week, which is International Education Week. And it was such an honor to have you as part of the discussion today. All
Keep
right. So
fighting
I'm just
for good.
yes. All right, and then one last thing. This is a wrap up. Our Tuesday Times Roundtable series ends with this wonderful discussion with the Copperbridge Foundation. If you would like to provide us with your feedback, feel free to go to go.fiu.edu /TTR feedback. And we hope to see you again next semester for a new series starting in January. We wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving and a great holiday season as well. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, everyone.